Mastering our thoughts and our mind is one of the most powerful things we can do for ourselves and to reclaim our life, health, and well-being. Today in the classroom, I will share with you some of the different ways that I have worked on my own life and with the clients that I coach, whether it's for cancer or just a regular life that they just want to improve or tweak or whatever it is, and how we work together to create the life that it is that you want. So get your pencils, your paper or pens, whatever you like to write with, because we're going to learn and grow together.
And when you need a friend, you can count on me. I'll be right here waiting for you.
Hi, my name is Lillian McDermott, and I am a certified life coach, a certified holistic cancer coach, and the host of the Lillian McDermott radio show Classroom. If this is your first time in the classroom, please know I've been waiting for you. This is a safe place where you can go when you need a friend. It is my commitment to provide natural ways to heal, and it is my mission to make awareness, responsibility, and truth a part of our everyday life. And I hope you, my listen and viewing friend, will feel empowered to embrace a new truth and live the life of your dreams. So, are you ready? Are you ready to figure out how do you embrace a life that is healthy for you? What is it about the mindset that keeps us trapped or free? How do you control these thoughts? Can you even control the thoughts? Just recently, I was in a situation where the first thought in the morning I would have would be of this situation. The last thought I have at night, it was that situation. And I, you would think, a trained individual, worked really, really hard at trying to figure out why. What is going on within me that I needed to let go of so that I could be at peace, even though I felt at peace, there was something that was calling me to do something more. Now, I could ignore that something, or I can embrace that something. The choice is mine, right? And the choice is yours. And this is why this particular conversation, not exactly this conversation, the mindset of health is going to be the first topic at the I Am the Solution Natural Health Summit for Cancer and Autoimmune Dys-Ease on November 1st, 2025. And yes, we're giving away 2 tickets once again. So a week from today, I will go into the winner's basket and hopefully it'll be your name, but you can text me at 407-373-5959 to claim your name to go into the winner's basket. I'll either give you 2 tickets, and if you decide that you just want 1 ticket, I will give another ticket away. So make sure that if you're listening or watching on BitChute or YouTube or after the class airs or podcast, whether it's Google or Apple or I think Google is now Pandora. I'm trying to remember all the different places that we are, but pretty much we're in all podcasts, which I'm really excited about. So if you're listening on podcasts and money is an obstacle for you that keeps you from learning these new truths, make sure that you put your name in the winner's basket. The event is live in person, and we're going to have incredible teachers, amazing vendors, and even more phenomenal people attending the event. So it's almost like a reunion of like-minded people where we honor our body and how God made us to heal. And one of the first conversations or the talks that we have is me. I want to kick off the mindset. The mindset is key to everything that we do. And as I was mentioning before, just recently, I experienced the mindset where I couldn't even shake it myself. And one of the things I say is, let it go, let it go. But without me even thinking about it, the thoughts would come in when I was most unguarded. When I wasn't guarded, those thoughts would come flooding in. And I would have to rebuke those thoughts. I would have to say, what is going on? I've already dealt with this. Obviously not. It's coming back. There's something else I must do. And I am going to be doing some of the things that have been revealed to me because my situation might be different than your situation. I am moving forward with God's prompting and how those thoughts will eventually leave my body. It's gotten better. But just like, and I'm going to make this a comparison, it took 3 days. So when Mary was going to the tomb to prepare Jesus's body for burial, she was walking towards this tomb, very sad, very solemn. She knew that she would be preparing the body of her Lord and Savior. But when she got there, the body was no longer there. Had she not gone through that obedience, that walking to the tomb, that willingness to go there, to explore it, it wasn't until then that she saw that there was resurrection. And for those of you who don't believe this story, and for those of you who are struggling to believe this story, there are many times where you're looking for something and you go to the same spot and you look for it and you look for it and you cannot find it. And then you just step away, kind of mourn the loss, and then you go back in. Maybe you say a prayer, or maybe you look again, and there it is. There it is, the prize that you've been looking for. So the quote from Jesus was, why do you mourn the living? Why do you mourn? Why do you look for the living among the dead? And that's what we do. We're always trying to go back and seek for the death, seek for the problem, seek for everything that harmed us. But guess what? Who is harming us at this point? We are. Not the person who originally carried the offense or the betrayal, or the person who posed as a friend, or posed as a loving spouse, or posed as the person that was your ally. No. They just were posing. And once you realize, oh my gosh, this is what happened? Oh, I'm going to relive the moment, all the wonderful things, all the great memories, all the fake news type of thing, all the stuff. You have to rewrite it as they weren't friends, they weren't your spouse. I've got to defame their character. I've got to tell all my friends about what they did to me. No, if you do that, you will re-injure yourself. But my talk at the I Am the Solution Natural Health Summit for Cancer and Autoimmune Disease on November 1st in Rockledge, Florida, in person with incredible speakers, wonderful vendors, and phenomenal attendees that will all come together for the greater good of all who are there to learn and grow. Just like it's different because I'm going to be talking specifically about the mindset of health. Today is about happiness. How do you take those thoughts out of your head and turn them into what God intended them to be? Yes, you would look at the crucifixion. As a Christian, we would look at the crucifixion as the worst thing that ever happened. But that must happen in order for the resurrection to occur. That betrayal, that awareness that that person wasn't your friend, or that man or woman wasn't being true to you, or whatever, insert your scenario that you repeat over and over in your head. At that moment that you discover that, yes, that person did hurt you. But at that precise moment, once you deal with your emotions, once you deal with your feelings, maybe you journal, maybe you carry it in you for a few days. But remember, forever, for as long as you're carrying that, you are dragging it like 100-pound sack of potatoes everywhere you go. It will injure you. It will be your downfall. It will possibly create disease in your body. Your unwillingness to forgive, your unwillingness to appreciate that there was a greater purpose for that betrayal, for that event, for that disruption in your life, that pruning. So there's another example. You might have a beautiful plant, and that plant is needing to be pruned. Why does that plant need to be pruned so deeply? So that it produces greater fruit. So if you don't believe the story of Jesus, if you don't believe that you can find something that's lost after you look for it over and over and over again, and it's in your line, your field of neglect, we have this what do you call field of neglect, for lack of a better word, or a blind spot. When those things happen in your life, then God intervenes and says, I'm taking this person out of your life now because they were there to harm you. And the less they're there, the better off you will be. And it is that awareness all of a sudden that you start thanking God for that, or thanking the universe or the creator of the universe. You start thanking them for, or he, she, whoever it is that you know as the higher power. I just want to be open here. I am a Christian, and so my examples are going to be based out of my belief of Jesus Christ and God and the spirit that lies in me, all in one. I am a combination of that tragic moment that converted into the resurrection, the greatest ending of all stories. But guess what? It didn't end there. It didn't end there. Then it continued as the disciples, the apostles, were in fear of their own life. But Jesus appeared to them, and Jesus breathed his advocate, that his spirit in us, so that we can do this and more. What is this and more? What are the greater things that Jesus did that we will be able to accomplish with the advocate, with the Spirit that is in you, that is in me? That's the I am. That is the I am of the I am the solution, that higher power that is constantly speaking to us. But if we push it away and we say, I'm not going to forgive that person. That person harmed me. Let me tell you what this person did. By the way, the person who intentionally tried to harm me, and this has happened before, this is not the first time it's happened. It was intentional. And I have forgiven that person. I love that person, but I do not trust that person. So when you say, I can't forgive and forget, well, that is false. If you forgive and forget, that's the start of dementia. Who wants that in your life, in their life? So I say you forgive and grow. So if you want a happier life, if you right now are staring at circumstances that have kicked you in the stomach, that have sucker punched you, that have made you feel, wow, I was duped by this person, by this situation. I thought it was going to be a certain way and it turned out to be different. I'm angry with God. God did this. No, God disrupted it. And the moment you start rewriting what happened, which is what I do when I coach somebody, what I do when I um, sit and listen to someone in pain, when my children call, when my friends call, I immediately start looking beyond the known and I start looking at deeper into the unknown. Why? And and you know what? I'll give you another example. When my ex-husband walked away from my our beautiful children, everybody would come to me and ask me, how could he do that? How could he leave these beautiful kids? How could he walk away from them? And I would lie awake at night going, why? Why could you do this? How could this happen? And I had many sleepless nights until one day God intervened and said, why do you even want to get into his head? Why do you even want to think like that person? What a liberating moment. So the next time somebody asked me, why do you think he was able to do that? I said, I don't know. I'm not in his head. He does not live in my head either. I don't know why he did it. Ask him. Instead of torturing myself with a circumstance over and over and over again, I put an end to it through the words that God gave me that night as I was laying awake. There have been times where when I first married Robert, I was so happy. I finally had the family that I truly wanted, that God wanted for me. But he traveled a lot. He traveled a lot, a lot, a lot. He might say no, but I say yes, because when he would travel, he would take a plane. And who doesn't think that, what if something happens to the plane? I grew up with a lot of fear. My mom would say, be careful, but don't do this. Don't go out there. Don't go skiing. You might hurt yourself. Don't cross the road. You might hurt yourself. Don't go to that place in the Bahamas because you might hurt yourself. I grew up with that kind of fear. So that's why it was in me. I had to start dissecting it and getting it out of my system so that I could start living again, so that I would start being able to experience life as a fearless woman. Yes, I do consult within myself. Is this the right thing to do? So there's not like I'm just going to nilly-willy do it. But when I'm telling you that these thoughts would flood my mind, I'm not kidding. I remember one time I was driving, had this big old Suburban because now I had a bunch of kids, I had this big old Suburban, and I remember a song came up, and I just kind of visualized Robert's face. And that joy, that song that brought me joy, turned into mourning. I started thinking, and this went on for 6 months. I have never experienced depression, but if this is depression or if this is the closest thing, I don't know why. Maybe it was anxiety. I have no idea what to call it. I just know that it was happening for 6 months. I would have a thought, what if his plane crashes? And I think this is residue from being, brought up by my mom, who was afraid of losing her children. All well-meaning. All of us mothers go through those fears. So all well-meaning, but I received those fears. And once in a while, I'd be driving and I'd have that thought, what if when he was gone, what if the plane crashes? What if something happens? And I would start to cry. Well, one day I was going to Winter Park and I was listening to the song like I mentioned before, and the image of my beautiful husband came up and his smile. The song had to do with his smile. And he always does this little quirky little smile that he tries to, it's like a funny face that he does. And he tries to make me laugh. And at that moment, the thought came, what if this flight is the last time I see him? And I started crying, but this time I started crying unconsolably. I had to pull this big old truck over to the side, and I was sobbing as if I was at his funeral. Because you see, the mind doesn't know the difference between fact or fiction. It doesn't know. If you think it, it believes it's happening at this moment. Even if you're thinking about something that happened 30 years ago, your body will respond as if it's happening right now. It doesn't know the difference between present, future, or past. It doesn't know the difference. It assumes it's happening now. Your brain doesn't know if it's like I said, fact or fiction, if it's happening now or happened in the past or in the future. It doesn't know that. It doesn't know who you're angry with. It assumes it's you. It doesn't recognize do versus don't. So whatever you're focusing on is what you will manifest. So if you're focusing on what you don't want, you will manifest what you don't want. If you focus on what you want, then you will manifest what you want. These are four key things about the brain that are so important. The don't part, that part, I didn't quite get. It wasn't because I was focusing on what I didn't want. I didn't realize that I was creating what I didn't want. So, but I didn't learn that till much later when I was going through my own personal growth. I started learning about how to work with my brain instead of against my brain. But I remember pulling over, sobbing uncontrollably. I was there at his funeral in my mind. And I remember wiping my eyes because the tears were just pouring out of my eyes. When I heard in my mind, in my heart, in my being, why do you mourn the living? And I went, what? What? And I heard it again. Why do you mourn the living? And I realized that. And what a great lesson God taught me that day, that he was very much alive. Why would I shed a tear of death or mourning when he is very much alive? Save those tears for when you must use them, when it actually happens. Like as I'm recording this class today, today is my father's 1 year anniversary of his ascension. But today, instead of making it a sad day, I am rejoicing for all the beauty that he brought into my life. We can rewrite the story in our head. That is how we start with this road to happiness. How can I master my thoughts so that it creates happiness in my life? Rewriting the programming, becoming aware that you are repeating something that is from the past that your body is recognizing as now. You are the only one that is hurting yourself after the initial problem has been done. Why would we do this? Why would we want this for ourselves? What can we do to stop it? Awareness. Becoming aware that somehow you're now hurting yourself. So, what is the anecdote? You know, when someone gets bitten by a snake, there's there is an anecdote that has the snake venom in it. That's how you, it's what Doug Kaufman said in the classroom many, many years ago. Likes begets life. Likes help likes. So if you get bitten by a snake, a small portion of that venom goes into your body, and that becomes the anecdote. That is the concept behind vaccines. That is the concept behind what I am talking to you about. So it's about visiting that story, finding in that story, how did I get blessed from learning about this? See, I suffered for 6 months this recurring thought of Robert being in an airplane crash and dying and leaving me with these beautiful kids that I now call my own. So it was all in my head. It was a story in my head, but the body did not know, my mind did not know that it was a story. So at that moment, any time I had that thought, I said, but he's alive. He's very much alive, to the point where that story never came to my heart or my mind again because it was disrupted by an awareness that I was doing this to myself. How many of us repeat a violation over and over where you lose sleep, that you eat or drink to numb yourself, watch television endlessly to numb yourself so you don't have these thoughts? But guess what? These thoughts are programmed into your mind. We have approximately 40,000 to 75,000 thoughts that are repetitive. These are 90% of them are repetitive. These are from our childhood. These are things that we don't even know. Breathing, walking, how to drive a car. These are repetitive thoughts that you do not need to even think about because they're automatic in your body. It's when you're in the now, that 10% that we're aware that we get to use that information to now say, I have become aware that I am hurting myself, not the person who violated you. You are. How do we create a healthy mind, a happier mind, a happier life? Rewrite the story. Remember the story. Now, here are some other things that you can do. And I earlier said, most people say, I will forgive and forget. I will never, ever forget. Forgiving doesn't mean condoning. Forgiving doesn't mean absolving the other person of what they did, like pretending like it didn't matter. Forgiveness has everything to do with you. You empowering yourself to say, I will no longer let that person have rent in my brain, live rent free in my heart. I am going to let them go because this disruption of this individual was ordained by God. And I must make the best of it. How did I learn from this relationship? How did I learn from the failure of the relationship? How did I learn? What did I learn from forgiving this individual? What are the different things that I can take, that I can dig up as I'm going to the grave to find the resurrection? Wow, this person that hurt me, thank God that they're no longer in my life because can you imagine if they knew more about me, how they could really hurt me? But they can't because I won't give them that power. How do I not give them the power? I forgive them. I forgive them. And that doesn't mean, again, that I condone their behavior. It means that I love myself enough to give myself permission to say, you will no longer harbor any hate or any resentment in my heart, my pure heart, that if I were to do this, it's like planting a weed in my body. And that weed will grow without you knowing. You will become cynical. You will isolate yourself from other people. You will treat other people the way that that person treated you because you want to self-protect. That's when the ego takes over. So I forgive and grow. Now, there is a difference between forgiveness and trusting. Just because you forgive somebody doesn't mean you bring that person back into your life. They, on the other hand, have to earn that trust. It is very clear and very concise that we get to claim our independence from that situation. It could be that you need to take action. It could be that you've got to eliminate this person from any, establish some boundaries, basically. Establish boundaries. And if you do decide to bring this person back into your life, just make sure that time has gone by where they've earned your trust because you can love them from afar. That's the thing that people don't understand. You can love somebody from afar. You don't have to wish somebody harm because they hurt you, because that will disrupt your goal for happiness in your life. Believe it or not. If you continue to harbor resentment, that will get stored in your body, and that memory will be protected and encapsulated by your body, and it will continue to grow and grow and grow. They've got this down pat with new German medicine, Dr. Reiki Hammer. He was the first one to identify that traumas in your life get stored in different parts of your body. I even have a chart that talks about that I share at the I Am the Solution Natural Health Summit. I want people to understand that there's a direct correlation between someone with an autoimmune condition and lack of forgiveness, or not being able to deal with past traumas, or maybe because of inflammation, because you're not taking good care of yourself, maybe too much sugar, too much alcohol, too much anger will create an inflamed body, as well as cancer. They've got it down to, like, as a coach, when I find out what kind of cancer, before I even ask about your cancer or the cancer, not your cancer, because I'm not claiming it for you, the cancer, I start talking about your relationship with your father, relationship with your mother, relationship with your siblings, relationship with people, relationship with your spouse, relationship with your children, because all of that plays into the body opening up for dis-ease. That is dysfunction to ease, or you can say disease. So dis-ease, the DYS, is because of dysfunction. And I want us to understand we can go from dysfunction to ease. We can go from mastering our thoughts, forgiving, and being loving. Even if you're not going to bring this person back into your life, you don't need to wish them the harm that the other person wished upon you or caused upon you. Because if you do allow it, they win. And don't let a narcissist win your heart over. Don't let a person who was called to harm you win your heart over. Because what man intends for harm, God intends for good. There's Genesis 50:20. And in Romans 8:28, it says, God will work things out for the good of all. Knowing that hope, knowing that, those are my go-to scripture verses. When something has caused me harm, I immediately go to the blessing. I immediately allow myself the sadness of the loss. I allow myself gosh, how could I have gotten so duped from this individual? But it does happen this way. So, yes, mindset is key when it comes to health and wellness. If you want to have a happy life, we get to rewrite some of these wrongs that have been done. We get to go to that tomb to find the resurrection. It is beautiful what happens when we do. The forgive and forget. I won't forgive and forget. Well, I don't want you to forget. I want you to recall it, but in a different way. If you were to forget, or if you would want to forget, like I had a woman say a long time ago in one of my talks, I want to forget about forgiving. I just want to forget my childhood. Well, guess what? Your brain will honor what you focus on. And if you want to forget your childhood, the brain won't discriminate on forgetting everything. So be careful what you say to yourself, because words matter. They matter very much. And if you were to look at the court of law, one of the things I've learned from working with attorney is that words do matter. Intention of the word does matter. So it does with your brain and it does with your body. So why am I talking to you about this today? I am talking to you about this because I want you to look and sit back and say, wow, if it weren't for the economy breaking down and me going back to work and me meeting this person and this happening that really I didn't like, it was what pushed me into my awareness. It was what started me, that launched me into a new truth of acceptance, of love, of self-love instead of self-sabotage, acceptance of what God wants for me. And why would I want anything that God doesn't want for me? Answer that. And if anybody can say a reason why you would want something that God doesn't want for you, then I'm telling you that you're playing God in your own life. And that too is going to create stress and anxiety because God, as Dr. Day would say, she would say, God is 100 trillion times wiser than we are. Why would I want for me to stop what God has allowed in my life? So I go into it with curiosity. God, what did you intend for me to learn in this horrible situation? Reveal it to me, please. I want to be in alignment with what you want for me. And then all of a sudden, you start seeing, oh, gosh, that's true. Oh, this catapulted me into that. If it weren't for this, then this wouldn't have happened. And by the way, if it wasn't for the housing crisis that launched me into a new career, that launched me into opening my business, that opened me up, and cracked me up when I learned from the wonderful teachers on the show that I was launched into. Nothing that I plan, everything God did. And I just flowed with it. Yes, I may have been upset at some of the things that God wanted for me, but I immediately sought acceptance of what is by rewriting, by trying to be curious as to why did this happen? What can I get out of it? Because I know that you're going to work this out for my good. And if somebody tried to cause me harm, well, you, God, intended it for good. That is how we start generating and mustering all this kind of goodness, acceptance, and not being in resistance. Because when you're in resistance, you're working twice as hard, maybe even more. It's a lot easier to go this way or go this way than to go this way. Right? It's very difficult. So when I think of my life and the moments where I was angry with God at the loss of, of a baby that I had in my belly, at the loss of that, when my sisters were pregnant, I didn't talk to God for 6 months. I was so angry with God. How dare you give me a baby that I wasn't necessarily wanting, but then take it away when I was just excited because my sisters were pregnant too, and I embraced it. How dare you, God? How did I even think that I could do that? And God so, oh, sorry, Lily, I made a mistake. No, God knew what was ahead for me. God protected me with the way He did. And it was a disruption in my life that made me see that I have a human relationship with my Lord and Savior, that I was upset that He did something to me, but that wasn't enough for me. This is my God who protected me. It was that incident that caused me to sing, to start singing God's word. God fed me scripture through the music of the church that I sang at and the different things that I sang. God fed me scripture through all of that. God taught me how to learn and have an open mind because I was asked to do the show, the Lillian McDermott show that was a 1 hour on a Saturday. Then the following year was 2 hours on a Saturday. On the third year was 5 days a week. On the fifth or sixth year, or whatever year it was in syndication. But I walked away from it. I knew the signs. I understood in 2019 this was God just moving me. And if you flow through life, it is a lot different life than if you fight it. Are you fighting your current situation? Are you feeling that trusting what your doctors are saying, trusting what well-meaning friends are asking you to do, not listening to your intuition, thinking that there's nothing you can do for your health? Then let me introduce you once again and cordially invite you to the I Am the Solution Natural Health Summit for Cancer and Autoimmune dis-ease. And whether it's an autoimmune condition or a chronic condition of whatever it is, all of us will learn and grow together on November 1st, 2025. Two of you, text me at 407-373-5959 or email me at lily@whenyouneedafriend.com letting me know that you want to be there in person, that you're going to be there when the doors open at 8 o'clock, when the first speaker speaks at 9, when the last speaker speaks, and you walk away and go to the vendors, and you are going to be at every single moment. If you can attend it on November 1st and be present the whole entire day and learn and grow with us, then claim your prize. Get your name in the winner's basket because two, well, if you just want one, I'll give you one and then I'll pass it to the next person. So it doesn't matter. So a week from today, you will then be notified that you got the ticket. Do you want one or two? Who will you invite? And the person, and don't claim the second ticket unless you already have somebody. Say, give me 24 hours, I'll find somebody. This is going to be better than anything that we've ever done before because now we're looking at how do we reverse a condition that's already been diagnosed? Or if you want to come for prevention, that's going to be a given. How do you prevent it? And that positive mindset, that true acceptance, that is a good way to start. And that is the healthier portion. That is the healthy way that you start that flow of health. First is you reclaim it. You don't continue to abuse yourself, to sabotage yourself. You reclaim your health. You rewrite the story. And that's what we learn here at the Lillian McDermott Radio Show classroom. We rewrite, we accept, we forgive, we embrace, we look for the good in the good, the bad, and the ugly, because everybody can be happy with the good things, but do we really grow during that time? Not that I want the rain, not that I want the ugly, not that I want the bad, but that is truly when we learn life lessons. And when you come to whenyouneedafriend.com and you go to the classroom and you check out today's conversations or the past conversations, or you have a topic that you want to look at or a person that you want to find, this is where you do it. But here's a tip. If you become a subscriber to the classroom by going to whenyouneedafriend.com and subscribing to the website, you will know who's in the classroom. You will get a little blog that will tell you a little thought about what's going on with me and a little thought about what's happening in the future. And by the way, in this week's blog, I talk about my dad because I just want to make sure that he is always remembered because he lives in me. He lives in all the people that he put his thumbprint in. Now, one can look at it as, oh, he did this wrong, did this wrong, this wrong. No, you can say, wow, because of him, I am who I am today. And even if it needed improving, I'm still who I am today because of him. I wouldn't have been born and been talking to you. So this is where we take ownership for our life. And I want to encourage you to share this video with your friends. If there's someone that you're in discourse with, if you're someone that you would like to reconcile with, even if they don't want to reconcile, that's okay too. You can reconcile within yourself. You can do ho'oponopono and send that person love and ask for forgiveness for please the four statements. I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. Those statements, when you recall that person, instead of recalling them with anger and disdain or contempt or sadness or I can't believe they did this to me, you wish them love. That is my closing. Love, peace, joy, and unexpected abundance. That was my true, because I was a really big forgiver. I can forgive, not a problem. But that was the first time I was really, really, really hurt to the point where I couldn't sleep, I couldn't eat. It was the thought was like churning in me. It's what prompted me to become work on myself. It was what picking up this word where it said the power of prayer. And it was the book by Susan Tholey. She, I think it's Susan Tholey. Um, Sue Tholey, yeah. And it was the something about the soul. And it was one of the things that I read in her book. And I realized that was keeping me awake was my lack of forgiveness. So I started wishing that person love, peace, joy, and unexpected abundance. And little by little, I was able to release that person. Because remember, what you wish onto somebody comes back. And if you wish them harm, guess what comes back? If you wish him love, peace, joy, and unexpected abundance, guess what comes back? You're in control. You've got the power. Don't let them take this gift away. Forgive, but don't forget, because when you remember it, it is a lesson. But how you remember it is what's important. That's what's important. So I want to encourage you to not only subscribe to the website, but share this video with your friends, with the people you know, a stranger even. Oh, I just heard a talk on this. Let me send it to you. Write your comments. Who do you want to forgive today? What are you dealing with today? What are you willing to let go and release today? Share. I would love to hear from you. And then also check out my sponsors, also the my Shop Now bag. These are Lilly approved products. Many of these people are going to be at the I Am the Solution Natural Health Summit for Cancer and Autoimmune Dis-Ease and November 1st. Remember, we're giving away 2 tickets. So I'm either going to give one to one person or two to one person. So text yourself in 407-373-5959 and get your name in the winner's basket. A week from today, I will continue to, I will pull your name and I will reach out to you and ask you, do you want one or two? That one lump or 2 lumps? Okay. So disease. How does this being when you start this process, and it is a process, you just got to trust the process. When you start that forgiveness process, when you start rewriting the program process, when you start doing all of that, all of a sudden, those emotions that were trapped in your body, boop, 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 and you might even think you're done. You're done. I've resolved this problem. But 4 years down the road, 10 years down the road, you recall a situation and you burst into tears. What does that mean? That means there's something more that you need to dig in. That's when you get your soul shovel and you start digging, digging, digging until you find that next truth. Why didn't you hear that before? Why didn't you have to go there before? And it's because God or your body said, I'm not ready to go there, maybe later on. So I'm not done with what I want to tell you about the whenyouneedafriend.com. If you want to become an enrolled student in the classroom, we welcome donations of your time, your talent, your treasure. Sharing this video is a way of helping out the classroom grow. So please, any type of donation is very much welcome. We thank you for that. I'm so grateful for those of you who do take the time to donate, even if it's $1 or $1,000 a month, a one-time donation, a recurring donation. All of it is very much welcome. So now, I am the solution. Are you ready to learn how to master your mind? How to master your thoughts? First is a thought, then that thought converts into a feeling, and that feeling converts into an action. So if your thought is a positive thought, then your feeling will be negative and it will suppress your immune system, which can cause disease as well. And then there's an action or inaction. If you have a positive thought, Then that positive becomes a feeling of positivity. And that positivity thinks, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I can do because God is in me. I can do it. So you're in choice. If somebody asks you, how are you doing today? And you go, oh, my back hurts, my neck hurts, my dog bit me, my neighbor left me, my spouse left me, my children won't talk to me. Guess who's hurting yourself? You are. You are. It's time to stop. It's time for a disruption and do something different and new. And if you want to learn more, you can sign up for coaching. Not only am I a certified holistic cancer coach, but I am a certified life coach. I can help you do this, or you can go anywhere. You can actually listen to some of my shows and it won't cost you a penny. Or you can come to the I Am the Solution Natural Health Summit, where you can start learning the association with dis-ease and emotional traumas, dis-ease and lack of forgiveness, dis-ease and numbing yourself and treating your body, not your temple. You're treating your body like a trash can. It is time to treat your body like a temple. I want to tell you, Dr. Joel Furman, Dr. Thomas Levy, Dr. Mark Rosenberg, Sylvie Boljansky, Brendan Legal, Renee Hahn, and I will be speaking to you as well, but Holly Gilbert, Dr. John Silva, all of us together, we're going to form the story. We're going to form a piece of the puzzle that you will be able to go, oh my gosh, I didn't think I was going to get anything from that, but I did. I did not realize that forgiveness was for me. Forgiveness is not for the other person because the other person doesn't even know that they've harmed you. They're justified to do what they do. But are you going to let them live rent-free in your head? Are you going to let them control your happiness? I hope not. I hope not. And by you saying, heck no, I am going to look at the beauty, those ashes that were created from that trauma. I am going to look at the beauty. I'm going to turn those ashes into war paint. I am going to make this my battle cry. I'm going to say, you hurt me once, but I refuse to continue to hurt myself. How do you have a happy life? Master that mindset. How do you live healthier? Master that mindset. Because when you master the mindset, you also start changing the way you think, the way you perceive. What do you get when you squeeze an orange? Orange juice. Why? Because it was in there. What do you get when we squeeze you? Depression, anxiety, fear, wanting to fight back, wanting to say in your face. Why? Because it's what's in you. And if you go with the flow, look for the blessing, take those ashes, make it your battle cry. Can you imagine how much more happier you will be? So I want to encourage you once again to go to whenyouneedafriend.com, go to the pop-up, click on the I Am the Solution, because we are going to learn and grow together in person, November 1st. I want to get as many hugs as I possibly can on that day. I want to hear from you. I want to love on you. We're all going to love on you. You want to come? You're invited. Please join us. And two of you for today's class will get the opportunity to put your name in the winner's basket. And then a week from today, I will draw out those names, those two names, or one name first. One name first. If they say, I just want one, because I'm just going to go by myself, then I'll give a second person. So whether you're listening on podcasts in the future, by the way, October 1st is the last day that you get to save on the tickets. So let me just tell you, I am making this as affordable as I can. I went to a couple of cancer conferences and they were over $350, $400 to just enter the event. So the not only are the prices low for this event, but there's $25 that you get off if you get your ticket before October 1st. And let me tell you, do not send me a text that you want to be in the winner's basket for the I Am the Solution Natural Health Summit if you don't plan on attending. You just want to text it and see if you win something. If you don't plan on attending the entire day, then please just share the video and share it with a friend. Let them know, hey, you live in Florida, or you live close to Florida, or you're coming from, another state. Can we do a little group together? I got another ticket. Can you drive and I'll give you my ticket? Create win-win. In life, another thing that will create you happiness is get rid of the myth that says that in order for me to win, you must lose. That's a lie. Everybody wins. You can live a life where everybody wins. Don't follow that lie. If you want to negotiate with somebody, don't be so cutthroat that you want them to lose the skin off their muscle. If you create win and they create a win, or if you decide that this is how you want to live your life, talk about having a happier life. Doesn't mean people won't hurt you, but it means that you will always choose the higher road. Please remember that this is where we seek a healthy, happy life. Let's master our mindset together. Join me at the I Am the Solution Natural Health Summit, and let's continue to grow together and give each other lots of hugs when we get to the event on November 1st. I'm looking forward to seeing you there. And please remember, we'll be right here waiting for you worldwide at whenyouneedafriend.com. This is Lily McDermott wishing you love, peace, joy, and unexpected abundance. Make it the best day ever.
The opinions and advice expressed on the Lillian McDermott radio show are intended for the individual callers and guests on the program and are presented to our wider audience solely for general educational purposes. Please act responsibly and consult personally with your own medical, psychological, or nutritional expert before taking any steps to improve your life.